Maybe you thought I was kidding when I referred to her as the Wicked Weave. Perhaps you thought it was hyperbole. Maybe you thought Uncle KC was just being humorous. It's entirely possible that you didn't believe someone could be this evil, but I'm about to prove once again the outright evil in the woke media. I guess I can't use the weave part anymore when referring to Joy Reid. As you're about to see, our bundle of joy, she has abandoned the weave. My inside sources are telling me that there could have been cuts in the production budget at MSNBC. With Joy Reid struggling in the ratings, it's possible that her show was included in these budget cuts. Now, if that's the case, she might not be able to afford the weaves anymore, even when Weave World is offering a special a dime for a dozen. With the budget for hair being trimmed down to zero, Joy Reid, she can no longer afford to spend that dime, so she has decided to go all natural. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Thank you guys again for all the support. I really appreciate all the congratulatory comments and messages yesterday. Tuesday night, Joy Reid, lead female deacon at Woke United Methodist. She submitted an addendum to the woke commandments. Now, obviously, this new legislation was approved without consideration since, Joy Reid checks multiple woke boxes. But according to Joy Reid, there is a new term that we are no longer allowed to use. Use of this term, it puts you in clear violation of the first woke commandment. Thou shalt not commit mythical racism. The punishment for this crime, it's very severe. If you are caught using this term, you will be sentenced to 80 hours of community service at Club Shay Shay, where you will be responsible for applying Preparation H to the bruised cabooses of lonely men who were mesmerized by the flamboyant moves of the dancing queen, Jackie Mahomes. According to Joy Reid, the latest phrase that is causing pain and trauma to parishioners at Woke United Methodist is White Boy Summer. What? White Boy Summer? What the hell is a White Boy Summer? I remember years ago, Gucci Mane came up with the phrase white girl wasted, but this white man has never heard of White Boy Summer. Thankfully, our bundle of joy, she informed me about this dangerous phrase. Back in 2021, rapper Chet Hanks released a single called White Boy Summer. Didn't take me long to realize why I had never heard of this garbage. I don't consider Chester Hanks to be a rapper. I listen to real rap music, T.I., Outkast, Wayne, Jeezy. I'm not listening to some doofus white kid whose biggest struggle in life is not getting along with his famous daddy. But Chester, he released this song 3 years ago, and most people didn't take it seriously. They made fun of it. That should be end of story, but there's two problems here, two small problems. Number one, according to Joy Reid, Chester Hanks, he is guilty of cultural appropriation. You see, in 2019, a female rapper that for reasons unknown chooses to identify as a stallion, which is kind of strange since a stallion is an uncastrated horse. You ever seen the cucumber on a horse? It makes the supersized cucumber appear smaller than the miniature ball they use in the WNBA. But either way, this female rapper chooses to identify as a stallion, and in the age of the identifier, that's okay. If you're a girl and you want to identify as an uncastrated horse, that's your right. In 2019, Meg Lla Stallion, she released a single called Hot Girl Summer. With Chester releasing a song titled White Boy Summer, deacons at Woke United Methodist, they were pissed off because a white guy stole an idea from a black woman. Clearly, Joy Reid and her fellow deacons aren't very familiar with the music business. Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You. The Fugees, Killing Me Softly. Stevie Wonder, We Can Work It Out. You know what all three of these artists have in common besides the fact that they're all black artists? They all remade songs that were originally composed by white artists. Whitney Houston, Dolly Parton, the Fugees, Lori Lieberman, Stevie Wonder, the Beatles. Now, this is a common practice in the music industry. It's not cultural appropriation. It's the music business. But why let those pesky facts get in the way of pushing the agenda? Problem number 2, according to Joy Reid, the phrase white boy summer, it is now being exploited by white supremacists who are being led by their object of devotion, Donald Trump. Orange man bad! Now wait a minute. I thought the media classified Donald Trump as the orange man. How in the hell can the orange man be considered a white supremacist? Last I checked, the orange man belonged to the most marginalized group in the country. I checked the data. There's only one orange man living in America. How can that one orange man be a white supremacist? I'll let Joy Reid explain, but don't expect to learn anything from this clip because once again, Joy Reid fails to provide a single example. Watch for yourself.
And what was one of the messages shared with participants at that gathering? Not one I suspect would go over so well at church. That right there is right-wing Pizzagate conspiracy theorist Jack Posobiec unfurling a flag reading "White Boys Summer," while hats with the same slogan were tossed to the screaming audience. But it wasn't long before the thirsty far-right and white supremacists decided it was time to cancel everyone's fun and culturally appropriate the cultural appropriation for their own purposes, using the phrase in their online memes to try to attract unsuspecting white youth to their cause. The Anti-Defamation League describes their tactics, writing that while some white boy summer memes include white supremacist neo-Nazi symbols, such as swastikas or references to the white supremacist 14 words slogan, other white boy summer promoters are tactically watering down their content to attract less extreme users and disseminate their content widely.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but did I hear Joy Reid refer to Trump supporters as a cult? This coming from one of the leaders of what used to be one of the largest cults in America. And I say used to be because woke United Methodist, it is rapidly losing influence. Case in point, have you noticed that we are 20 days into June and we have barely heard anything about woke Christmas? Have you noticed that the mainstream media is eerily silent when it comes to covering pride events? Why? Why do you think that is? Maybe, just maybe, they see Johnny B. Biden struggling in the polls and they know they can't afford to create any more backlash. But as you saw in the clip, Joy Reid, she did not provide a single example of this mythical racism. She didn't provide a single example of white supremacists at a Trump rally using white boy summer to demean minorities. Why didn't our bundle of joy provide any examples? If I had to guess, it's because she couldn't find one. All she provided was some statement from the Anti-Defamation League. Anti-Defamation League. I looked at the list of people I trust. Joy Reid and the ADL, they didn't make the list. But the propaganda from Joy Reid, it gets even worse. Matter of fact, it's downright disgraceful. According to a recent Gallup poll, the majority of voters, they consider illegal immigration to be the most important issue facing the country, not undocumented birthing persons crossing the border with an invitation from John Biden and Cam Harris. We're talking about illegal immigration. Recently, an undocumented migrant, he was arrested in New York for assaulting a 13-year-old girl. Now, this case is absolutely appalling. A lot of people are pissed off about it, and rightfully so. But according to Joy Reid, Conservative media outlets who are covering the story, because the mainstream media damn sure ain't covering it, but conservative outlets covering the story, they are exploiting it for the use of fear-mongering. Watch for yourself.
This is one of the reasons that people have these this sort of thinking. Here's the three cable networks reporting of this. This was our banner said, soon Biden announces legal protections for undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens. CNN's banner said, Biden announces new protections for some undocumented spouses. Here was Fox's banner, migrant arrested for raping 13-year-old New York City.
Yes.
Caribbean.
And so I think that's part of the problem, right?
Exactly.
Is that you have
That's
a lot
part
of
the
fear-mongering.
Exactly.
What a disgrace. This is what MSNBC calls journalism. Is it any wonder why Joy Reid is struggling in the ratings? Is it any wonder why the mainstream media is losing its influence? You know why people are pissed off with what happened to that young girl in New York? People are mad because it could have been prevented. I want you to think about something. For starters, not all of these people crossing the border illegally are bad people. I'm sure some of them, maybe even most of them, are just looking to give a better life to their kids, to their families. But there is no denying the fact that some of these people crossing illegally are criminals. Think about it. Countries like Iran, if they are sending people across the border, do you really think they are sending their best and brightest? You think they are sending their best doctors, their elite scientists? Are we doing that? Are we sending our best scientists to Russia? Last person we sent to Russia was Bob Greiner. She's not even the best trash collector in the WNBA dump. Are we sending our best doctors to Canada? Last I checked, pretend Dr. Jill Biden, she was still in the White House performing emergency heart surgery on Master Yoda. To my knowledge, Joy Reid has yet to mention what happened to that young girl in New York. She has aired 3 episodes of pure garbage this week, and she hasn't mentioned this young girl once. Why? Maybe because she doesn't want you to know about it. You see, cases like that ruin the agenda. Cases like that turn people against Johnny B. Biden's immigration policies. MSNBC, they can't inform their viewers on what's really happening. They are too busy celebrating Johnny's tough new immigration law. Our fearless leader has heard your complaints. He has promised to stop undocumented birthing persons from illegally crossing our border. Johnny has implemented a master plan to prevent this from happening. From now on, when invitations are mailed out, they will include a green card. That way, everyone crossing over will be crossing over legally. Believe it or not, and I don't know if or how this is happening, but John Biden, he is starting to gain a little bit of traction in the polls. According to Fox News, John Biden is actually leading the Trumper by 1 point in their latest poll. Now, me personally, I don't believe it. Sometimes I think media use polls to energize their core audience. There were only 2,500 people included in this poll. Obviously, that doesn't come close to representing the entire country, but Fox News, they were right about one thing. That poll, it does prove how divided the country really is. But give me your thoughts on this. Joy Reid bans use of the term white boy summer. She claims the term has been exploited by white supremacists, but fails to provide a single example of this exploitation. She also fails to cover what happened to the young girl in New York and accuses conservative media of fear-mongering for covering the story. Is this one of the reasons the mainstream media is losing influence? It's disgraceful, right? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys later.